wave, knowing that you had HIV, and told everybody that it was bronchitis. Okay? I was in jail. Natalie didn't say, hey, Orlando, you want to do this show? It's some guys with HIV.
What if I told you one of America's biggest music cities is quietly facing a serious health crisis, and almost nobody is talking about it? Now add viral claims from a former child star, rumors about rappers, and statistics that don't lie. This story is messy, controversial, and way deeper than it looks. Atlanta has long been known as the cultural capital of hip-hop, a city that gave the world some of the biggest artists and trends. But behind the music, behind the fame, and behind the image, there's another conversation happening. Rising STD rates, public health warnings, and viral allegations from Orlando Brown have suddenly pushed Atlanta into the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. So today, we're breaking down what's real, what's exaggerated, and what people are too afraid to say out loud.
In Atlanta, just in 2025 alone, this is August, it's been a reported 19,500 new cases.
Are there any men in Atlanta that's straight? Because from all, it's like 1,000 story times of niggas being down low, finding out they.
Let's start with facts, because before we get into any rumors or viral clips, the data itself is already raising concerns. According to public health reports, Atlanta and the wider Georgia region have consistently ranked among the highest in the United States for new HIV diagnoses. Metro Atlanta alone has tens of thousands of people currently living with HIV, and Georgia frequently appears in the top 5 states for new cases annually. Even more concerning, health officials have reported increases in other sexually transmitted infections, including syphilis, gonorrhea, and chlamydia, over the past several years. Some reports estimate that STD cases in Georgia have risen significantly over a 5-year period, highlighting a growing public health issue. Now here's where the conversation becomes more complex. Statistics show that certain communities are disproportionately affected. In Atlanta, Black residents make up roughly 1/3 of the population, yet account for a significantly higher percentage of HIV cases. Public health experts say this disparity is not about behavior alone. It's linked to access to healthcare, testing availability, education, and systemic inequalities that have existed for decades. So while the numbers are real, the reasons behind them are layered. But then things took a turn online. A viral wave of content started spreading across social media, fueled in part by Orlando Brown, a former Disney actor known as much for his controversial statements as his past fame. In recent clips, Orlando made bold claims about the entertainment industry, Atlanta culture, and alleged hidden lifestyles among rappers. Now it's important to be clear here. Many of Orlando Brown's statements are unverified and should be treated as allegations, not facts. However, in the age of social media, even unverified claims can spark massive conversations, especially when they connect to real-world issues like rising health concerns. And that's exactly what happened. Online discussions quickly shifted from just statistics to speculation about why these numbers are increasing. One topic that repeatedly comes up is something often referred to as the DL culture, short for down low. This term is used to describe individuals who do not openly disclose their sexual behavior, particularly men who identify publicly as straight but may have relationships with other men privately. Again, this is a sensitive topic, and it's important not to generalize or stereotype entire communities. But public health experts have acknowledged that stigma and lack of open conversation around sexuality can contribute to the spread of STDs. When people feel pressured to hide their identity, they may be less likely to seek testing, communicate honestly with partners, or access proper healthcare. Atlanta, in particular, sits at a unique cultural intersection. It's a city known for both strong religious traditions and a thriving LGBTQ+ community. On one side, there's growing acceptance and visibility. On the other, there are still social pressures, especially in certain environments, that can discourage openness. This creates a complicated dynamic. And when you combine that with the influence of the music industry, things become even more layered. Hip-hop, historically, has had a complicated relationship with topics around sexuality. While the genre has evolved, there are still expectations tied to image, masculinity, and public perception. For artists, reputation can directly impact their career, brand deals, and fan base. Because of that, some people believe that artists may feel pressure to maintain a certain image, whether or not it reflects their real lives. Now again, there is no verified evidence that connects specific rappers to any health crisis. But the rumors persist online, often fueled by viral moments, photos, or out-of-context clips. And that brings us back to Orlando Brown. In his viral rants, Orlando didn't just talk about health issues. He also made claims about the music industry allegedly controlling artists through image manipulation, pressure, and even blackmail. These are serious accusations, but they remain unproven. Still, his comments added fuel to an already growing online narrative. At the same time, local conversations in Atlanta have been intensifying. Some residents claim that dating in the city has become more complicated due to concerns about honesty, testing, and health transparency. Social media pages and forums have even emerged where people share experiences and warnings. Though again, these should be approached cautiously, as not all claims online are verified.
You like a gay rapper.
Shit, he might be one nowadays.
Everybody's a gay rapper except for these niggas, except for you and me, Demonch. I know Young Thug's gay.
Hey.
I know Young Thug sucks on babies' old crusty dick. It's nasty.
Now look.
Public health officials, however, are taking the situation seriously. Efforts have been made to increase testing availability, promote safe practices, and reduce stigma around discussing sexual health. Campaigns encourage regular testing, open communication, and education, all of which are key to reducing infection rates. Because at the end of the day, this is not about gossip, it's about health. It's about real people, real lives, and real consequences. And while viral content may exaggerate or distort certain aspects, the underlying issue remains important. Another factor often discussed is access to healthcare. In many communities, especially underserved ones, there are barriers that make it harder for individuals to get tested or treated. These can include cost, lack of insurance, transportation issues, or even fear of judgment. When these barriers exist, infections can go undiagnosed, and that leads to higher transmission rates. Education also plays a major role. In some areas, there is limited access to comprehensive sexual health education. Without proper information, people may not fully understand how infections spread, how to protect themselves, or when to get tested. And then there's the stigma. This might be the biggest challenge of all. When people feel ashamed or afraid to talk about sexual health, they're less likely to seek help. That silence allows problems to grow, not just in Atlanta, but in many cities around the world. So when you look at the situation as a whole, it's not just one cause, it's a combination of factors. Healthcare access, education gaps, cultural pressures, stigma, and yes, sometimes misinformation spreading online. Which brings us back to the question everyone is asking. Is Atlanta really facing an epidemic, or is the situation being exaggerated? The answer is somewhere in the middle. The data clearly shows that STD rates are a serious concern in the region. That part is real. But many of the viral claims, especially those targeting specific individuals or making broad accusations, are not backed by verified evidence. And that's an important distinction. Because while it's easy to get caught up in sensational headlines, the real issue deserves a more thoughtful conversation. Instead of focusing on rumors, experts emphasize solutions. Regular testing, honest communication, reducing stigma, improving access to healthcare, and promoting education at every level. These are the steps that actually make a difference. As for Orlando Brown, his comments may have sparked attention, but they shouldn't be taken as confirmed truth. Like many viral figures, his statements often mix personal opinions with unverified claims. However, if his words have done anything, it's this. They've brought attention to a topic that many people were already concerned about, but not openly discussing. And sometimes, that's where real conversations begin. So what do you think? Is this a real crisis that's being ignored, or a situation that's being blown out of proportion online? Either way, one thing is clear. The conversation around health, honesty, and awareness is more important than ever. Drop your thoughts below and stay tuned because this story is far from over.